Emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's what happens when a person has been hurt enough times to finally stop handing their peace to people who don't deserve it. Detached people don't stop feeling, they just stop bleeding for things that no longer matter. They watch chaos from a distance, analyze emotion like a scientist, and choose silence over reaction. That's not numbness, that's power. In a world where everyone's emotions are on display, emotional detachment becomes a form of quiet rebellion, a calm refusal to be controlled by other people's moods, judgments, or manipulation. Detached minds see life like a chessboard. Not every piece needs to move, and not every attack deserves a response. In this video, you'll discover the psychology behind being emotionally detached, why it's not heartlessness but emotional maturity disguised as distance. You'll see how detachment protects peace, sharpens focus, and transforms pain into awareness. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Brainy Quiet Mind, the home of calm thinkers, deep feelers, and quiet minds that see more than they say. And tell me in the comments, do you think emotional detachment is strength or self-defense? Emotional detachment begins when overgiving turns into exhaustion. Emotional detachment doesn't appear overnight, it's born slowly, after countless moments of giving too much and receiving too little. It starts when a person realizes that their kindness has become currency for others to exploit. They've spent years listening, comforting, fixing, always being the emotional anchor for people who never asked how they were holding up. And one day, the realization hits: you can't pour from an empty soul. That's when detachment begins, not out of bitterness, but out of sheer survival. At first, they try to fight it. They tell themselves to stay compassionate, to keep understanding, but every time they extend their energy to people who drain it, they feel a little more hollow. Over time, emotional fatigue replaces empathy. Their once warm heart becomes quieter, slower to react, more selective. It's not that they stop caring, it's that they finally understand the cost of caring too much. What used to feel like love now feels like self-erasure. That exhaustion turns into clarity. They start to see that constantly giving doesn't make them noble, it makes them disappear. Emotional detachment is the body's and mind's natural way of saying enough. Enough, being the savior, the fixer, the emotional sponge. Enough carrying everyone else's storms while drowning in silence. So they begin to withdraw, not dramatically, but intentionally. They spend more time alone, more time observing, less time explaining. They stop reacting to guilt, to manipulation, to chaos that doesn't belong to them. People around them notice the change. They call it coldness, distance, even arrogance. But the truth is, detachment is healing disguised as silence. It's the heart learning to protect itself after years of being stretched too thin. For the first time, they understand that peace isn't found in constant connection. It's found in selective connection. Emotional detachment begins at the exact moment a person chooses themselves over their exhaustion. It's when they stop giving their empathy away like oxygen and start using it to breathe again. And from that moment on, they move differently. Not because they stopped feeling, but because they finally learned that feeling everything is what nearly destroyed them. Detached people observe emotions instead of drowning in them. Emotionally detached people aren't heartless. They've simply learned the art of emotional observation. Where most people get pulled into the storm of feelings, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, detached minds stand at the edge, watching the waves crash without losing their footing. They've felt what it's like to drown before, to be consumed by emotion, to let every disappointment or betrayal drag them under. But through pain, they discovered something powerful. Emotions are signals, not commands. You can feel them deeply without being ruled by them. Detached people have mastered what most struggle with, the pause between emotion and reaction. They notice anger rising, but they don't let it speak for them. They feel sadness, but they don't let it define them. They experience frustration, but they don't hand it control. Instead, they step back internally as if watching their own emotions play out on a movie screen. This distance gives them clarity, the kind of calm that unnerves people who expect chaos. The difference lies in awareness. Detached individuals understand that emotions are temporary visitors. They don't suppress them, they study them. They ask, why am I feeling this? What triggered it? What does this teach me? That self-awareness turns pain into perspective and perspective into power. While others get lost inside emotional reactions, detached people learn from them. Their calmness isn't a lack of feeling, it's mastery over feeling. This emotional observation often makes others uncomfortable. People mistake their silence for apathy, their calm for coldness, but what they don't see is the discipline behind it, the ability to stay grounded while others lose balance. Detached people have learned that reacting impulsively gives emotions control, but observing them gives you control. They're not emotionless, they're emotionally fluent. They can navigate their inner world without getting trapped in it. And that's what makes their peace so powerful. It's not ignorance, it's awareness. The detached person still feels everything. They've just learned to feel without drowning, to hurt without breaking, and to care without losing themselves. In a world where everyone's ruled by emotion, their ability to simply watch is what makes them untouchable. They've learned that reacting gives away control, silence keeps it. Emotionally detached people understand something most never learn. Reaction is surrender. The moment you react, you hand your power to someone else, whether it's anger, defensiveness, or over-explaining. Every reaction becomes proof that they've gotten inside your head. Detached minds know this, and that's why their greatest weapon is silence. They don't need to win arguments, prove points, or defend their worth. Their calm is their shield, and it's the most unnerving response of all. They weren't always like this. Once, they used to explain themselves endlessly, trying to fix misunderstandings or prove their intentions. But over time, they realized that people who want to misunderstand you will never hear your explanations. So they stopped giving their energy to empty battles. They learned that silence isn't weakness, it's control. It's the art of saying nothing and letting truth reveal itself naturally, because eventually people expose themselves. Silence just gives them stage. When others shout, detached individuals stay still. When they're provoked, they respond with observation, not emotion. They've trained themselves to find clarity in the pause, to breathe before reacting, to think before speaking. That pause is where their power lies. While others burn their energy in chaos, the detached person stays grounded, watching patterns unfold. This is what terrifies manipulators and confuses emotional aggressors. They can't provoke what doesn't engage. Silence becomes their form of communication. It says, I see what you're doing. I understand your motives, but I refuse to give you the satisfaction of reaction. That kind of restraint is rare and powerful. Because silence doesn't just protect peace, it exposes manipulation. People who depend on emotional control can't function when their target stops responding. The detached person understands that control isn't about domination, it's about stability. Every time they choose silence over chaos, they reinforce their authority over themselves. They don't react, they respond when it matters. They don't argue, they observe. And in that stillness, they always win. Because in a world addicted to noise, the one who stays silent isn't the weakest. They're the one in control. Their silence doesn't mean they don't care. It means they've already decided what's worth breaking their peace for. And most things simply aren't. Their calmness is not emptiness, but emotional discipline. When you look at emotionally detached people, it's easy to mistake their calm for emptiness, as if they don't feel anything at all. But behind that stillness lies an incredible level of discipline. They've felt every storm, every heartbreak, every disappointment, and instead of letting those emotions consume them, they learned how to contain them. Their calm isn't a lack of feeling, it's the result of mastering their emotional response. It's what happens when you've been burned enough times to realize that peace is the only thing worth protecting. Their calmness was built in fire. They've experienced moments when anger could have destroyed them, when sadness could have broken them, when betrayal could have made them bitter, but instead they chose balance. They trained themselves to feel without reacting, to acknowledge emotions without letting them dictate behavior. That kind of control doesn't come naturally. It's earned through self-awareness and pain. They've seen how uncontrolled emotion turns people into prisoners of their own impulses. So they built a different kind of power, inner restraint. To the outside world, their composure can feel intimidating. Others expect emotional outbursts, arguments, or vulnerability on display, but the detached person stays steady. They don't flinch under pressure, don't match aggression with aggression, don't allow others to drag them into chaos. That's because they understand a powerful truth. The one who stays calm controls the room. Emotional discipline is their quiet authority, a form of strength that can't be performed, only developed. This calm isn't coldness, it's awareness. They still feel deeply, but they no longer let emotion dictate their direction. They know that calmness creates clarity, and clarity is where all wise decisions are born. That's why detached individuals often appear unbothered by situations that send others spiraling. It's not that they don't care, it's that they've learned what deserves their energy and what doesn't. Their calmness is the product of self mastery, of learning that emotional chaos isn't proof of passion, and that control doesn't mean suppression. It means understanding yourself so completely that no external force can unbalance you. And that's what makes their peace so powerful. It's not emptiness, it's evolution. It's the quiet victory of someone who's learned to own their emotions instead of being owned by them. They set invisible boundaries that protect their peace from chaos. Emotionally detached people don't announce their boundaries, they embody them. You won't hear them say, "Don't cross this line." You'll just feel it. Their energy shifts, their tone changes, their availability fades. Quietly, firmly, without confrontation. It's not about anger, it's about preservation. They've learned through experience that not everyone deserves access to their mind, time, or emotions. So they build invisible walls, not to isolate themselves, but to keep their peace intact in a world that constantly tries to invade it. These boundaries are subtle but unbreakable. They'll still smile, still show kindness, still listen, but the difference is they no longer absorb. They can sit in chaos and remain untouched. The storm may rage around them, but inside it's still, because detachment has taught them how to separate empathy from entanglement. They can care about you without carrying you, and that ability to feel compassion without losing themselves is their greatest protection. Their invisible boundaries come from lessons carved in exhaustion. They've been drained by overcommitment, manipulated by guilt, and used by people who confused empathy for weakness. That's why their silence isn't distance, it's defense. They've learned that you don't need to explain why you need peace, you just need to protect it. Those who truly respect your energy won't demand access to it, and those who do aren't meant to stay. People often misinterpret this behavior as coldness, but it's the opposite. It's emotional intelligence in action. Detached individuals know that chaos feeds on reaction and boundaries starve it. They know when to walk away, when to stay quiet, and when to guard their space from drama that doesn't belong to them. Their peace becomes their compass. Anything that disturbs it simply doesn't deserve attention. This invisible protection isn't built from fear, but from wisdom, because once you've lost your peace enough times, you start treating it like oxygen. You stop giving it away to anyone who demands it, and that's why detached people seem untouchable. They've created a world within themselves that chaos can't enter. Their boundaries may be unseen, but they are felt. A silent force field around their mind that whispers one truth: peace isn't found, it's protected. Detachment helps them see people's intentions without emotional bias. When most people look at others, they see what they want to believe, the charm, the words, the promises. But emotionally detached individuals see what's really there. Their distance gives them clarity. They're not blinded by affection, guilt, or wishful thinking. Instead, they study actions, patterns, and energy. Detachment doesn't make them cold. It makes them precise. While others get tangled in emotions that distort judgment, detached minds see motives as clearly as daylight. They've learned that emotional attachment clouds perception. When you care too much, you justify red flags. You confuse effort with intention, words with truth. Detached people have already walked that path. They've given trust too freely and paid the price. Now they've developed the emotional distance necessary to observe objectively. They don't assume, they notice. They pay attention to how people behave when they're not getting what they want, to how their energy changes when the spotlight isn't on them. In that silence, truth reveals itself. This emotional neutrality gives them an almost psychic insight. They can spot manipulation disguised as kindness, or insecurity dressed up as confidence. They're not easily fooled by flattery or false vulnerability because they're not desperate for approval. Detachment strips away the emotional noise that blinds most people, and what's left is pure observation. To others, this clarity feels unsettling. People sense that detached individuals can't be easily deceived or emotionally steered. They can feel when someone's pretending, yet they don't call it out. They just quietly withdraw. Their calm eyes see everything, but reveal nothing. That's what makes them unpredictable and, in a way, intimidating. This kind of perception is power. It's the ability to understand someone's nature without needing to control or expose them. Detached people don't judge, they simply see. And once they've seen, they decide silently who deserves access and who doesn't. Their emotions no longer interfere with truth. Their peace filters out illusion. In the end, detachment isn't emotional numbness, it's clarity at its highest form. It allows them to navigate people, situations, and life itself with calm accuracy. They don't guess anymore, they know. Because when your mind is quiet, intentions speak louder than words ever could. They replace attachment with awareness. They feel, but they don't cling. Emotionally detached people haven't stopped feeling. They've simply learned how to hold emotions without holding on to them. They still love deeply, care sincerely, and connect authentically, but they do it from a place of awareness rather than attachment. They've realized that attachment often leads to suffering because when you cling, you try to control outcomes. You place your peace in the hands of things that are constantly changing, people, circumstances, emotions. Detached individuals have outgrown that illusion. They've learned that love without control is freedom and that awareness is stronger than attachment. This doesn't happen easily. Most detached people were once the opposite. Overly attached, overly invested, giving all their energy to people who didn't know how to handle it. They mistook attachment for loyalty and emotional intensity for connection. And every time they lost something or someone, it broke them a little more until they realized the truth. You can love someone without losing yourself in them. That's when the shift begins. Now, when they connect, it's with open eyes. They understand that everyone is temporary, that everything changes, and that peace doesn't come from possession, it comes from acceptance. They can appreciate someone's presence without fearing their absence. They can love without demanding control, care without needing constant reassurance. This kind of love feels lighter, calmer, wiser, because it's not built on fear. To outsiders, this can seem detached or even distant, but what they don't realize is that this emotional balance is what makes their relationships healthier. Detached people don't chase, they attract, they don't beg for attention, they give space. They don't hold grudges when things end because they never expected permanence in the first place. They move through life like water, adaptable, unbothered, at peace with change. Replacing attachment with awareness transforms how they live. They stop chasing closure, stop forcing connections, stop clinging to what's falling apart. Instead, they let life flow, knowing that what's meant for them will never require desperation. They've learned to feel deeply but release easily, because real strength isn't in holding on. It's in knowing when to let go and still remain whole. Emotional detachment isn't a lack of love, it's the mastery of it. Most people think emotional detachment means you've stopped caring, that you've shut down or lost your ability to love. But the truth is far deeper and far more powerful. Detachment doesn't kill love, it purifies it. It strips away the need to possess, control, or expect. It transforms love from something reactive into something conscious. Detached individuals still love, but they love without losing themselves. Their affection isn't driven by fear or dependency. It's rooted in peace, awareness, and emotional maturity. They've learned that love without boundaries becomes self-destruction. In the past, they gave too much, forgave too quickly, and tried to fix what wasn't theirs to fix. That endless emotional labor taught them something essential, that real love doesn't require sacrificing your sanity. So now, when they love, it's deliberate. It's calm, steady, and unforced. They don't fall in love blindly, they grow into it consciously. They can care for someone deeply while maintaining their independence, and that's what makes their love so rare. Emotional detachment turns love into freedom. They can see someone clearly, flaws, fears, beauty, and all, without trying to change them. They no longer love to fill emptiness, they love to share fullness. Their love becomes an offering, not an escape. This is the highest form of connection, when two whole people meet, not to complete each other, but to expand each other. That's what detached love looks like: steady, unshakable, and free from the chaos of insecurity. To others, this kind of love feels different. There's no jealousy, no possessiveness, no emotional games. It's not dramatic, it's peaceful. And because peace feels unfamiliar to those addicted to intensity, detached love is often misunderstood as coldness. But that's the irony. This calm love is the most genuine form of warmth there is. It's not loud, but it's loyal. It's not demanding, but it's consistent. Emotional detachment is love with wisdom, love without fear. It's when you care, but don't cling, when you give, but don't lose yourself, and when you can walk away with love still in your heart, not resentment. That's not indifference, that's mastery. Because true love isn't proven by how hard you hold on, but by how peacefully you can let go and still wish them well. In the end, emotional detachment isn't about shutting the world out. It's about finally learning how to live within it without losing yourself. It's the calm after the storm, the quiet realization that peace is more valuable than approval, and awareness is stronger than attachment. When you stop letting every emotion control your direction, life starts to feel lighter, clearer, and more intentional. You begin to love without fear, care without chaos, and walk away without anger. That's not distance, that's growth. If this message resonates with you, it's because you've felt that transformation. The shift from reacting to understanding, from clinging to observing. You've learned that silence doesn't mean emptiness, it means control. And once you reach that level of emotional mastery, there's no going back. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to Brainy Quiet Mind, a space for calm thinkers, deep feelers, and quiet souls learning to master their emotions instead of being ruled by them. And if you've watched until the end, comment "calm mind" below so I'll know you're one of the few who've learned that real strength is found in stillness.